Yo, what is going on, people? We are back for another episode of Bring Your A Game. I got to tell you, it's been a while. It's been a few weeks. I'm really excited to be able to get back in here, put another episode together for y'all. I just some stuff going on in my life. New baby came along, be my third child, my third boy. Unfortunately, my entire house tested positive for the COVID-19 virus, so had to do some quarantining and life just coming up, between the holidays and new baby and catching the virus and everything else. So yeah, it's been a minute, boys. I mean, it really has. As always, I am Austin Snyder. You can catch me on Twitter at Austin Snyder 90. Catch me on TikTok at Austin Snyder 509, and catch me on Facebook at Austin Snyder. Give me a shout out. Holla at your boy. And as always, again, we actually have a special guest who is being promoted to a co-host because he is going to be around week to week from now on. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, I am Dillon Holloway. My name does not start with an A, but maybe we can do something about that. We can change it in post or something. You can follow me on Twitter at Dillon Reports, TikTok, Dills, TikTok, DILLS, TikTok, all one word. I'm here to bring my A game or my D game or something like that.
And I'm back, Amar Burton. My name does start with an A, hence the title of the show. Because if it was just Austin and Dillon, it would be like bring your AD game, and it would be like the Anthony Davis podcast. But we're not doing that here. So anyway, you could catch me Amar_206 on Twitter, and what's that other thing I use? Instagram. Also, you can find me on Facebook. First name, last name, because I just do my normal thing on Facebook. So I don't even know what number episode this is, like 9 or 10, something like that, but like Austin said,
it is. It's been a few weeks.
It's been a while, like Austin said, some big life changes. But we are back for another episode. We're kind of like the podcasting version of Brooklyn's Big Three. Of course, I'm talking about Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Darren Williams. I know y'all remember that Big Three. That really worked out. So we're going to get into, though, Super Bowl's coming up, Super Bowl 55. And
the big game.
What, about a week away?
The
now?
Granddaddy of them all.
Yes, the granddaddy.
The showcase of the immortals. Oh, no, that's right.
Well, not an empty stadium, but, severely limited number of fan version of
Do we know how many fans are going to be in attendance?
I know for sure 7,500 are going.
Right. And those are the, like the healthcare workers that got comped, right? Okay. Yep. Yeah. So,
and I'm sure they're going to, my guess is somewhere in the 20, 25-ish, maybe 30,000 mark.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of people.
Well, I mean, isn't that about what Dallas was packing in and in Florida and Kansas City?
How many people does the Buccaneer Stadium seat, though? Dallas is like 110,000.
Oh, I forget.
So realistically, you could spread them out,
right.
No pun intended, spread.
Yeah.
But I know at the AFC Championship game with the Bills and the Chiefs, there was like 17,000 people, and it looked pretty full. So
it wouldn't surprise me if they didn't push the limits a bit too, especially because it is in Florida, to about 20,000. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
So. Well, I mean, one of the big storylines is this is going to be the first ever Super Bowl where one of the teams is actually the home team, being the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, led by, as we all know, Tom Brady. So my first question for y'all, this being Brady's first season with Tampa Bay, getting to the Super Bowl, whether he wins or loses, is it considered a success for him? Was this like, did he meet the expectations this year? Does he have to win in order for it to be a success? Like, how do we, without knowing the result of Super Bowl yet, how do you judge this season for Brady?
I think this, to win or lose, this is absolutely a success for Tom Brady. I don't think a lot of people had this high of expectations for Brady going to the Buccaneers to get to the Super Bowl in his first year. They thought oh, they'll make the playoffs, win a game or two, and it'll be a fun season. That's what it was supposed. That's what it was labeled as, right? The fun season for Tom Brady. Well, Psycho Tom is back in the Super Bowl once again, busted through that brick wall, whether we like it or not, and he's playing for the granddad of them all, trying to get number 7 on his second hand there, the 7th ring. So, I mean, if he loses to Kansas City, if the Buccaneers lose to Kansas City, because it's not one-on-one, it's the Chiefs versus the Buccaneers. If they lose to Kansas City, there's no shame in that. Kansas City's an amazing team. I mean, unless Tom goes in there and throws 10 interceptions, which I think we both all know that's not going to happen. I don't think you can say this was a failure, because this has been an amazing season for the Buccaneers and for Tom Brady, who's 43 years old and in yet another Super Bowl.
Yeah, I agree. I think that there's no way, shape, or form that this could be seen as anything but successful for the Buccaneers. And for all the reasons that Dillon pointed to, the reality is yeah, most people thought the ceiling for this team was maybe an AFC championship game, maybe, and yeah, I'm sorry, NFC. Yeah, I have to keep remembering, yeah, thinking Tom Brady, AFC, but NFC Championship. But on top of that, they had some rough little patches in the season where people were unsure, and even coming into this game, they've got a couple little question marks. Personally, I'm taking the Chiefs in this game just because I feel like they've got some solid. They're all. I said at the beginning of the season that what was going to win the Super Bowl was continuity, and the Chiefs have it. You know what I mean? I also said that the Buccaneers were in no way, shape, or form making the Super Bowl, and now I've got egg on my face, so I will own that.
Who did you have in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs?
The Seahawks. Yeah, I had the Seahawks. However, I did have the Browns.
Unbiased pick right
I
there.
did have the Browns going to the playoffs, and what did they do, Dillon? They not only went to the playoffs, but they won a playoff game.
You also said Adam Gase would be the first coach fired, so
and he was
can't win every
the last.
He was the first coach that should have been fired.
Yeah, Earl Thomas still isn't working. But anyways, like the biggest question mark for the Buccaneers going into this game is the not super duper great relationship between their quarterback and the team's number 1 receiver. I mean, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Mike Evans and Tom Brady are absolutely not on the same page. Not as much as they should be. You know what I mean? Giving how dynamic. I mean, dude, we watched Randy Moss show up in year 1. They're shattering records. You know what I mean? So personally, I have a hard time believing that's a Tom Brady problem. And maybe more of a Mike Evans problem. But yeah, just having that question mark to me gives the edge to the Chiefs. But to get back to the point, yeah, I think it's a 100% success. Tom Brady was already kind of deemed the unequivocal GOAT. This just puts the little cherry on top to give a little jab at all of those, saying he was a system quarterback, etc. But yeah, 100% it's a success.
I think after they beat New Orleans in the playoffs, it was a successful season. I think making the playoffs was expected. They didn't win the division. The fact that they had to face Washington in the first round, and Washington being like a sub 500 playoff team, if they lost that game, it would have been seen as a failure. So winning that was like, okay, you're supposed to do that. Then when they got to play the Saints, it was like, okay, if you beat the Saints, now, this is a good year. This was, you've arrived. You're a legit, Super Bowl contender. Brady, you've done better than some people expected. Funny part is there's going to be a segment of fans, the Tom Brady haters, who at the same time will say he sucks. He's a cheater. He's 100 years old. But if they lose the Super Bowl, they will clown him and say, it's his fault. And, they shouldn't have been there in the first place and, all that. So, but yeah, I think to your reasonable observer, this had to be, this was a successful year for his first year in Tampa Bay. So.
The Buccaneers just have a really well-balanced team, too. Like, I know the hype is all Tom Brady right now. Like, he went to the Buccaneers, and now they're a Super Bowl team. But, like, they had a great team before he got there. They just needed the veteran leadership of Tom Brady to kind of, he's like the glue that holds it all together. He's not out there throwing 50 touchdowns, but he's doing, obviously just enough. And he's been there before. He's the cool heads prevail guy. And they have a great run game. They have an awesome defense. I think the defense is underrated. And I think it's going to be a close Super Bowl. What do you guys think as far as the score? Who do you got winning, Amar?
I still haven't, I still don't know. I haven't made my pick yet, I guess, on who's going to win.
I think it was Chiefs were favored by like 3.5 last I checked for Vegas.
I've been leaning towards Tampa Bay. Just, I don't know. I guess, maybe just because I've, work in media, I'm always thinking like the narrative and the story and like, what's the headline I envision, on the papers the next day. And I just keep seeing it being like, Brady crowns himself the GOAT after winning his 7th. And like, I just, when he beats Mahomes on, on the way to do it. And so I guess just a hunch says, it's going to be Tampa Bay and that's going to be the story that we're telling by the end of this.
That's actually hilarious because I take a very similar approach when looking at those kind of things.
You think it'll be a close game?
Yes, I think I've got the Chiefs winning 28-24. And it's funny, Amar, because I do
for them.
Yeah, I do take a similar approach because my thought process on what's tomorrow's headline after the game is pass of the torch, Mahomes best Brady, and I honestly believe that like if anybody in this current generation class of quarterbacks is going to be the one to meet or exceed Tom Brady to take that crown achievement of GOAT, it's Mahomes. And what better way to do that than similar to Tom Brady, in your sophomore year, win a Super Bowl sophomore or junior year, right?
Third year. Yeah.
Yeah, so junior, in his third year, win a Super Bowl, and then win a second in his fourth, and possibly go on a dynasty, and then
I think this is his fourth year.
Yeah, it is his fourth year. But similar to Brady, Brady had to sit, and then a sophomore year came in, made the playoffs, and I think they won the Super Bowl that year. But even still, similar kind of deal. So my point is, especially to catch Tom Brady, you have to start very early. Yeah, you have to start winning Super Bowls by your second or third year if you expect to be in a position to win 6 or 7 plus Super Bowls in a career. So
you think this is going to kind of be like Jordan beating Magic in the finals,
right?
And kind of and taking that torch and
and that's just the headline that I think is I think it's the most appealing. I think it. It's just the one that I envision personally is just that. Yeah, Mahomes besting Tom Brady. He first just gets that breakthrough of, hey, now he's a Super Bowl champion. Regular season MVP, like high caliber, obviously the most talented quarterback in the league, and then it takes him from that, and I hate to even say this, but that same stratosphere of like the Lamar Jackson, et cetera, to that whole nother level of like, well, this guy's a clear Hall of Famer, but where's he going to end up on the all-time list? The question isn't so much his legacy of what's going on today, but it's, hey, when he retires, where does he does he end up as number 1? Does he end up as number 5, et cetera? So, and I think this is the Super Bowl to do that, to jumpstart that conversation, which I'm personally ready to have. I think the guy's the most talented quarterback I've ever seen play the game ever of all time.
It's going to be funny when the game ends 6-3 now, right?
Yeah, right.
Now, one Super Bowl matchup that I think some people wanted to see was Tampa Bay versus New England, and the Brady versus Belichick, and the team that he just left, and his new team. New England didn't hold up there into the bargain. They finished 7-9, missing the playoffs and under 500 for the first time since I don't know when, since the Steve Grogan era or something. But what do you think this season did for Bill Belichick's legacy? I mean, do you think that he kind of took a hit, like his reputation, or his all-time legacy, or maybe just his standing as being the best coach in the game today? Like, what did this year do for that?
I think he definitely definitely took a step back in regards to being in the active conversation as the best NFL coach in today's game. In terms of total legacy, I still think he's the GOAT. The problem is it will be a minority, but it'll be a strong minority of fans and people that will, you know, rightfully say, "Hey, Tom Brady left and made it to the Super Bowl." Meanwhile, Bill Belichick coached the team to a sub 500 finish and what was a pretty despicable season overall, given the standards that we were, come to expect in New England. The problem with that is that they also won't mention that like their entire starting defense opted out of the season because of COVID, and you know. Cam Newton probably wasn't the best kick. Personally, I never really loved that. Like a guy like Bill Belichick, he had a winning system, one that definitely progressed with the modern NFL, but like in his style, and he would have been better equipped to find a solution at quarterback that would mimic more of how Tom Brady approached the game. And by that, I mean, not go try to find some dual threat, find a guy who's going to be quick and accurate, get the ball out of his hands, make those smart decisions, etc. So, yeah, I think it definitely takes a step back for what's going on today. All-time legacy is still going to be kind of up in the air. We definitely have to see how he finishes next season to really, really make that prediction or make that assertion, whatever you
The
want to call it.
fact the fact that we're even having this conversation is absolutely ridiculous. This is like such an example of the modern sports fan. Bill Belichick goes 7-9 and misses the playoffs. So his 20 years of success in New England is now in question. His 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 image on the Mount Rushmore of coaches is in jeopardy because during a COVID lockout season, which should have an asterisk next to it because of all the weird things that have happened, no fans in a lot of games. As Austin mentioned, the defense is out, right? Brand new quarterback, Cam Newton, who was a question mark coming into the season. We weren't sure this guy could still go, could still play. There's some games where he had like almost no passing yards, right? They went 7-9 and could have made, they were a few plays away from making the playoffs, right? And now we're like, wait a minute. Is Bill Belichick not a good coach anymore? It's absolutely absurd to me. It's ludicrous.
I think it's a fair question just
No,
because
it's not a fair question.
it is. And it's not saying that he's not a good coach anymore. It's not saying that all of a sudden you boot him off the Mount Rushmore, but I mean like that's a pretty big question mark when the guy that was around for 20 years with that coach leads your team to continued success to a Super Bowl, not just like one playoff game,
15.
not just postseason success or like he's going to a Super Bowl and absolutely has like the chance to win the 7th Super Bowl. Meanwhile, you coached your team to a sub 500 finish. There was just it was an abysmal season, dude. And like I said, I get it, but I think that's a totally fair criticism because all the defensive players that did opted out and everything, but like the Cam Newton choice was terrible from the get-go. And why people thought that was going to be like, it just never made any sense to me. It didn't fit the system. It just never made sense. And so it just like choices like that, in addition to the success that you're seeing from Brady, it's like you break up and then the girlfriend goes and, marries the doctor and now is living this lavish lifestyle and everything. And, yeah, maybe you're a pretty good looking guy or whatever, but you start to kind of really question, what's going on. Like, man, I'm a sub 500 team that can't even make the playoffs in a weak division, in a division with the Jets. I can't even make the playoff. Like, come
think
on.
They don't have three different teams that are the Jets in the division though. Like the Bills are pretty damn good.
I
And the other thing
know,
is
but
Bill
still,
Belichick.
man.
If Bill Belichick retired tomorrow, maybe you could have somewhat of a small argument. But he's probably going to coach longer than Tom Brady will continue to play. So this will flip back and forth constantly. Like this isn't the end of their
That's
career.
what I'm saying. Like, really, we have to wait to see how the Patriots end next season
If
to see
Belichick
if it's
never,
any real cause for concern in the sense of, like, well, maybe he wasn't, maybe he needed Tom Brady, you
if
know?
Belichick coaches for another 10 years and never makes the playoffs again, you will have an argument there. But like him missing the playoffs with a 7-9 record and people going, oh man, I don't know. It's just absolutely stupid.
I think, like, I mean, fair or unfair, it was gonna get asked because that was the whole storyline. Was it's just like if it's Phil Jackson's first season without a Jordan, a Kobe, a Shaq, okay, well, what can he really do when he doesn't have
Right. That's always
the
been the question.
yeah,
Always.
yeah. Well, and that was, the big thing going into the season was like, well, was it Brady who made the Patriots great or was it Belichick? And I don't think it has to be either or, but just that became the narrative and that became the question.
Why can't it be both?
It
Why
can,
I
no,
agree.
well, yeah. No, I'm saying it is. I don't think it's like one or the other, but that just became the story. And it is a bad look for Belichick that he finished 7-9 and that the team missed the playoffs. But like both of y'all pointed out, there was a lot of things that factored into that. It wasn't just like, Belichick sucks as a coach now. I really wanted New England to be good because I like Cam Newton and I really wanted him to succeed, and it just didn't work. However, Dillon, like you said, they almost made the playoffs. Like they got pretty close, I don't think that this means Belichick's not the GOAT coach, because what I would ask is, okay, who was number two behind him and what happened that would make that person, re-jump Belichick? Like, do you reevaluate that person?
Another
You know what I'm
thing
saying?
is like
Perfect season, bud.
the other
Perfect
thing is
season.
like Belichick being like he's obviously the GOAT of this era. It's just like players, and like I know we do this all the time with basketball, like Jordan versus LeBron, till we're blue in the face. It's so hard to compare coaches and players from different eras because like as far as like the other GOAT coaches, you're talking Vince Lombardi, right?
Mm-hmm.
You really compare like the Vince Lombardi Green Bay Packers of the 60s to the Patriots of now, it's almost impossible because they're so different. But Vince Lombardi's name is still on the trophy. He's still won multiple NFL championships in the first two Super Bowls. So
Yeah. Well, yeah, and like Chuck Noll is, still behind Belichick, as far as rings, or I don't know who's considered the second best coach of all time, but
I don't know. Is Don Shula not a guy that's in that conversation anymore, or what? Isn't he the most winningest coach in NFL history and had a perfect season?
He's in the conversation.
Only coach ever, perfect season.
It depends how much you value that perfect season, though. Like
I think you value it quite a bit because then they went right back to the Super Bowl the very next season and won. They only lost like 2 games that year
very
too.
Impressive, but like who is their competition, right? Like you could argue like the Patriots going 18-1 had harder competition or put up better numbers or whatever argument you want to say, right? 14-0, and they only played 14 games. And can I just go off on a little tirade here? You know what drives me nuts? The freaking 72 Dolphins live their lives waiting to pop the champagne, rooting against the younger generation. I think it's absolutely stupid that they're just clinging to this old past glory of like, oh man, they finally lost. Let's celebrate on the internet now. These guys look like absolute losers. Like you had the perfect season. Just be happy with it.
But that's their thing though. When they go to like autograph signings and all that, it's like, Mercury Morris was, he was the running back on the last undefeated team or the only undefeated team in NFL history. Like that's their thing that is still kind of like marketable and makes them stand out. Like, I get it. I mean, yeah.
Bro,
I think,
my dad is one of the most OG bandwagon fans of all time. Like this dude knows really nothing about football in any way, shape, or form, and became a Seahawks fan in exactly 2012. But before that, he always would claim, "Oh, I'm a Dolphins
signed
fan."
on with Pete Carroll.
I'm a Dolphins fan. Oh yeah, well like have you watching them? Would you watch Ryan Fitzpatrick? Did you? Well, I don't know. But that Larry Zonka, man, that Larry Zonka was something else, and I
I'm
gotta
not.
tell you, come on, man, he's an original 72 bandwagon fan that just
I'm not
clings to
hating
that
that it's
one season.
celebrated. I'm hating that they actively root against other teams. Like records are made to be broken, and whenever you like, it just seems like I don't know, such like an old man get off my lawn type thing. Like, oh yeah, can't wait for you to lose and blow up in your face. So I can cling to this old glory over here. Like I think it was Larry Zonka like put on Twitter him popping the champagne when the last undefeated team lost, and it just lame to me, dude. It's so lame.
By the way, I love that Dillon popped on a hoodie like in solidarity with Belichick for that question.
Oh yeah, of course. Of
Yeah.
course.
Freezing in my room. It's like 10 degrees in New Jersey. So. Cutting the sleeves off next.
So, we opened the show talking about Tom Brady and we mentioned Patrick Mahomes and 87% of the stories you're going to see leading up to Super Bowl are going to be about Brady, Mahomes, maybe a little Tyreek Hill, maybe a little Travis Kelce, but it's going to be a lot about those guys. But I'm looking for what I want to know from you guys is who's a player that isn't getting talked about right now that you think is going to step up and make a name for himself in the Super Bowl. Maybe not win Super Bowl MVP, but just he's going to be a guy that people will be talking about after the game as opposed to nobody was talking about him before the game.
I don't know if nobody's talking about him, but a guy that I'm looking forward to watching who's not Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, yada, 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 is Devin White, inside linebacker, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This guy is considered undersized at 6 foot. This guy is a baller, man. 140 tackles. In the playoffs, he's been gobbling up turnovers. Interception and a fumble recovery versus the Saints, fumble recovery for a touchdown against the Packers. And if the Buccaneers have any hope of beating the Kansas City Chiefs, I think we all agree they're going to have to get some turnovers. They're going to steal some possessions, right? Kansas City, one of the greatest offenses we ever seen. And I hope to see Devin White do his thing. Like you said, he's probably not going to win Super Bowl MVP. If the Buccaneers win, it's probably going to be Brady. If the Chiefs win, it's more than likely going to be Patrick Mahomes. But I hope to see Devin White make a huge impact. As a lover of defense, it's awesome to see a guy take over a game or help take over a game at a defensive position. So I'm looking forward to seeing Devin White in the Super Bowl.
I also am a lover of defense. Former high school defensive back, back in my day. So I'm always looking at the DBs, and the guy that I'm looking at who I think could have a standout game and whose play is going to be very important to the outcome is going to be Tampa cornerback Carlton Davis. When Kansas City and Tampa played earlier in the season, he was the guy. He got burned by Tyreek Hill a few times when Tyreek Hill had that monster game, 200 something yards and 3 touchdowns. Yeah. Davis got lit up in that game. So he's got to
Didn't he have 200 yards by halftime?
In the first quarter. In the first quarter.
Yeah. First quarter. Yeah.
Yeah. So Davis obviously, needs to do better against Hill. I'm sure they're going to do some schematic things to not leave him on the island with Tyreek so much. But
Davis will never forget that game, though.
It must have been a rough day watching film the next day.
Oh, yeah.
But Davis will never forget that game.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, again, there's a storyline there, this, redemption story of he got lit up the first time they played. He comes back in the Super Bowl and has a big game or just makes a few plays. Maybe he just for a defensive back. I mean, you could have an overall not good game and make one big play in a crucial spot. And, people are going to be talking about the good play you made. So I think Davis can do that. I kind of want to see him do that just, because, I don't want that, Tyreek Hill game to just be the one he's known for. So, bounce back, do something in the Super Bowl, make a name for yourself. That's what I'd like to see. So what about you, Austin?
For me, I'm going to be watching McCole Hardman. And the biggest reason being is I think he really, really showcased his ability in the AFC Championship game. Excuse me. I think he did an incredible job just showing off his speed, his hands, his agility, his quickness, his ability to make cuts, his ability to get open. He just did it. He was just a great utility player there. And I mean, we've seen in Super Bowls past, and maybe this guy doesn't win the MVP, but maybe he does. Where we've seen this dark horse player that's kind of just made all the. I mean, but let's be real. The Super Bowl MVP is not. Yes, lately it's been, your quarterbacks or whatever, but it also very much is the guy who makes the most highlight or puts up the most highlight plays, and I think he is a guy that, can bust an 80-yard end around for a touchdown, and maybe they put him in to return a punt and he returns it for another one or for, 60, 70 yards and then catches a 40-yard touchdown or, ends the game with 80 yards catching or whatever. So I just think there's a lot of different ways they can use him and that they have used him that's pretty unique and cool and creative yeah, so I think he'll be kind of a fun, not so well known player to watch and just potentially see some pretty badass plays out of him. So
Mhm. Well, I think we're gonna have, I believe, one more episode between now and Super Bowl, so we're gonna, be able to talk about Super Bowl a little bit more in the next episode. Want to stick with the NFL, but go a little bit away from Super Bowl topic. There's a lot of new coaching hires being made recently. So, of all the coaching hires that have been made in the offseason or offseason for teams that are not still in it, what was like your favorite hire?
My favorite hire,
yep.
just based solely on the press conference, is Dan Campbell, Detroit Lions. I don't know if I've seen a press conference that like gave me so many emotions. It made me laugh. It made me cry. It inspired me. And it made me wonder what the heck was going on. All in the same 40-second span. Biting a kneecap, getting punched in the face and smiling at somebody. It just, it's been a while since I've been excited to see how Detroit plays, how Detroit Lions pan out, right? And I know like that press conference wasn't a look inside to like, oh, here's what we're going to do strategically, but it makes me interested in watching the Detroit Lions, which I think is more important now than ever since we know that Matt Stafford's more than likely gone, right? Like I think it's all but confirmed they're going to trade him. So it gives, hopefully it'll give the team some kind of identity. I know a lot of people think that machismo type of stuff doesn't work, but this is still football. It is cool to see a coach that will inspire players to get fired up, even though it was a little silly, it was a little goofy at times, but saying like, we're not going to take it anymore. We're not going to be bullied. We're going to fight back. I think it's kind of cool. And it makes me excited to watch the Detroit Lions play football this upcoming season. I cannot believe I just said that sentence.
That I was watching that. When I heard that line about the, scratching kneecaps when we get, and I was just like, okay, so the next Bounty Gate scandal's coming out of Detroit. Like guaranteed. Right. Like, yeah, like this guy's gonna be like, okay, if you take out their quarterback, you're gonna get an extra like $10,000 this week. So, my favorite hire was Robert Saleh for the New York Jets, just because I thought, he was deserving of that spot, just for the work he's done as San Francisco's defensive coordinator. Just, personal note, I mean, rooting for him being the first like Muslim NFL head coach. And I just think, he's ready. And with the Jets, I mean, there's nowhere to go but up. So it's like got a good, opportunity. They're going to have a high draft pick. They have some talent there. So I don't think he's walking into like a totally horrible situation.
They got a ton of cap space too.
Yeah, a lot of cap space. So I think he can make something happen. And just kind of excited to see him like get the opportunity like in a big, high profile job. So that'd be my pick.
Yeah, personally, I gotta say it's that run game coordinator for the Seahawks. No, I'm just kidding. I don't really have one. You know what I mean? Like, to me, the sexiest hire was Urban Meyer.
I don't even know what his name is.
It's David Atkinson or something like that.
Aker
David Atkinson. So yeah,
Aker
definitely my favorite. I think it was the smartest hire out of all of them.
You
But that's
followed
just what the
Aker
Seahawks
Atkinson's
do.
career for years.
Pete Carroll just makes just top-notch decisions every single time. So, anyways, but yeah, personally, the Urban Meyer hire was the sexiest to me. I think the Sala hire was a really really good hire. But man, there wasn't really a coaching hire this year that to me personally was just like a huge blockbuster, like change the direction of a franchise. We've got some cool press conferences, and I agree, Dylan. I think that it's cool to see a coach down in Detroit really buy in to get fired up. And but we've also seen that blow up in coaches. Look at Mike Singletary. The same kind of thing. 49ers were just bottom of the barrel. This guy came in rah, and I don't think he gets enough credit for changing the culture in San Francisco before Harbaugh showed up. But yeah, he's kicking Vernon Davis out of games and
dropping his pants at halftime.
Right. So and it didn't really pan out, but my point is yeah, I think we've had some somewhat interesting ones, but nothing that I point to and I'm like, man, like that franchise, like the Kevin Stefanski hire in Cleveland, like when that went down, I was like, man, that could really really be the turning point, the decision made that could potentially forever change the identity of this franchise, or at least, because that's how with the Seahawks, that's how it was. The Mike Holmgren hire, they had a head coach that was, had won a Super Bowl in Green Bay, worked with Brett Favre, blah, blah, blah. He comes in and it really kind of changed the culture, and then they regressed a little bit. And then Pete Carroll came in and now we've seen for this past decade plus of just Seahawks winning football, where they're just in the playoffs every season. Like you expect them to be a playoff team or at least darn close, competitive, etc. So, and that, like I said, the Stefanski hire in Cleveland, that to me, I was like, yeah, like now we're gonna start to see a new era. And I don't think like maybe in Jacksonville. I think Urban Meyer is going to be a very interesting hire. If nothing else, it's going to definitely make it worth tuning into the Jaguars. But
between Urban Meyer and having the number 1 overall pick, which will probably be Trevor Lawrence, obviously, right? I think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to be maybe not must-see TV, pretty darn close as far as like a bottom basement dwelling team goes, right? You're going to want to see how Urban Meyer does in the pros. We've been wondering this for years, what he would be like in the pros. And now Trevor Lawrence, who's the most highly touted quarterback I can remember since Andrew Luck,
if not even more so.
Yeah, and you're right. Maybe even more so. I think maybe his stock went down maybe a tad against Ohio State a little bit, whereas before that, they thought it was just like, I remember after his freshman year, they're like, why can't he just go in the NFL now?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Start, right? Just seconds, which is a little bit crazy, but I mean, it will be exciting to see how this pans out. And Jacksonville has some talent. They have speed, man.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people, it's underrated. Like, the team has.
What's that guy's name that they've got? He's a utility player. He's a receiver, but he runs the ball. He catches. He runs the end array. He runs a lot of trick plays.
Laviska Shenault.
Yeah. I mean, that kid, good dude. You're right. They do. They've got some good young talent. Don't they still have what was that safety? Didn't they have a safety that was a returner and stuff that out of Michigan? Or did he end up in a different team? Robinson or something like that?
Oh, no,
Jabril Pepper.
Jabril Pepper.
No, he plays for the Giants, bro.
Yeah.
He was on.
Who am I thinking?
You might be thinking of Denard Robinson.
Robinson. Yeah.
That was a while ago, though, wasn't it?
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that'll tell you how long it's been since I've been interested in watching.
I can't what David Garrard does under Urban Meyer this year.
Yeah. Maurice Jones Drew might have a big year though. Like,
He's like, bro, when Byron gets
Well,
under,
yeah, when
Yeah.
Byron left with,
it
you think,
yeah.
dude, no, you get Trevor Lawrence, Jimmy Smith, and Keenan McCardle. Like, that's going to be
handing
like
the ball off to Fred Taylor, brother. Come on now,
Oh
that's
my
a privilege right there.
Like Tony Baselli watching his back. I mean, that
Tony Baselli.
Oh, we're getting off track here.
Okay, I think I'm tapped out on like former Jaguars. I don't know anymore.
All right.
So I'll take that opportunity to turn away from football completely. So we're going to have some new segments as you're going to see coming up in 2021 for the show. But one of our, I guess, holdover, I don't want to say old segments because the show's not old, but one of our segments that we've always done is my little thing where I talk about what I'm going to tell my kids about. My little two twin boys that are about 7 months old right now. When they get old enough to, understand what dad's talking about, I'm going to be telling them about a lot of sports stuff. One thing I'm going to tell them about is Rain Man and the Glove. Now, I don't know if y'all have seen the NBA TV documentary yet that they did recently. NBA TV is pretty good about like replaying, their shows a lot. So if you have NBA TV, you could probably find it airing sometime in the next couple of weeks.
I remember that's how the early days of the NFL Network was. Dillon and I used to sit in my room and literally spend 10 hours a day just watching NFL films from the 1950s all the way through the entire era of the NFL.
Yeah. So if you got NBA TV, you should be able to find it. I know there's pieces of it on YouTube. I don't think the whole thing is on YouTube. Anyway, Rain Man and the Glove, Sean Kemp, Gary Payton, those were the two top guys on my favorite team, the Seattle Supersonics, when I was growing up. So in a lot of ways, I mean, they kind of like were instrumental in my like learning what basketball really was. So a lot of my basketball stories, we'll go back to them, we'll reference them. The documentary, it was just them today just kind of catching up. It was just Gary Payton and Sean Kemp just sitting there talking to each other and telling stories about their history together. When Gary came into the league and when he joined the Sonics and, how they played together, their accomplishments, their failures, what happened when they broke that team up. If you don't remember, they played together from 1990 to 97, made the playoffs every year, made the Western Conference Finals twice, made the NBA Finals in 96 where they lost to Jordan and the Bulls. But just like a real exciting brand of basketball, like the alley-oops and like the just like defense they played. And, one of the first teams I remember kind of, I don't say shooting a lot of threes, but like, relying on 3-point shooters like Hersey Hawkins, Sam Perkins and stuff. Just a really fun team to watch. I was glad I was able to grow up in Seattle at that time and watch them all the time. And that documentary is like pretty cool. So if you get a chance, check it out. And, when my kids are older and I'm a little older, I'll be telling them all about it. So just wanted to hit that real quick.
I was 1,000% sure Amar was going to say he's going to tell his kids about the Seahawks new run game coordinator.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. David Atkinson.
Yeah. As soon as I remember his name. Yeah.
Peter Karan and Austin know who David
When Chris Carson hits the hole up the middle for 3 yards, he's going to turn to his two boys and go, who drew that one up, don't you?
Don't forget the name, guys.
Yeah.
You're going to really need to. That'll be forever in the halls of Seattle sports history. David.
That guy is going in the Ring of Honor.
Watch him end up being the heir apparent to Pete Carroll when he retires.
Which I have no idea when Pete Carroll's going to retire. It's like he's never going to leave.
Oh yeah, it could be tomorrow. He could literally I'm just waiting for Pete Carroll to just say, "Yeah, I'm out. Yeah, thanks guys. It's been a good ride."
It's going to be like Forrest Gump when he's running. I'm tired. I think I'm going to go home.
Yeah, that's right.
It'd be like middle of a game. He's just like, you know what? I'm done. Like,
Yeah.
like what was that? Was that
Walks off.
yeah? Was that like Vontae Davis? I think.
Yeah.
Like he retired
Yeah.
like at halftime.
Yep.
He's just like, you know what? I'm tired.
Weren't they like getting blown out
I
too or
didn't
something
Yeah.
like
watch that
that?
game. I want to go back and watch it and just watch every play. I want to just like see the look in his eyes, like
Right.
freaking
You want to
retired.
find the exact play when he decided he
Yes, the
yeah.
exact moment when he's
Yeah.
like, I'm done with this shit.
All right, so Austin, I know you had another segment in mind that was kind of your idea, so I'm gonna let you introduce that one.
Yeah. So it's actually, we're going to be replacing the Sports 101 segment here in 2021 with a winners and losers of the week. So we're each just going to take a little bit of time to, let you know who we believe are the winners of the week and the losers of the week. And just kind of give you some insight as to why we believe that. So I will start. My winner of the week is Patrick Mahomes. Why Patrick Mahomes? Because once again the NFL has shunned Eric Bieniemy, and he has not landed a head coaching position despite probably being the most deserving coordinator in the NFL right now to do so. I would say probably actively the widely considered the best offensive coordinator in the NFL. I think that's fair to say. The brand of football that the Chiefs have been playing, and it's a very high powered, exciting offense to watch, and he's had a hand in that. To some degree. But on top of that, it is what makes this Patrick Mahomes win, how it correlates to that is now not only is there a very high likelihood, in my opinion, that they are going to win the Super Bowl this year in 2 weeks, but Eric Bieniemy is going to be pissed, and that team, who has had players like Tyreek Hill and the better players on the team voice their opinion loudly that they believe it's ridiculous that Eric Bieniemy has not found a head coaching job, including Andy Reid. Um, it's going to be revenge toward 2021, 2022 next season, to get Bieniemy a head coaching job. So just kind of a little bit more of that. It's hard when you win back-to-back Super Bowls. That third one becomes very hard because especially there's such a target on your back, and you start to get guys who want to get paid, and there's just nothing to fight for, other than checks. And so it just kind of gives them something to unify and fight, and potentially win their third Super Bowl in a row. So Patrick Mahomes is my winner of the week. My loser of the week is the entire Philadelphia Eagles franchise for their head coaching hire of a guy who, if you haven't seen the clip, finish watching this show and then just look up the press conference from Nick Sirianni's introduction as the head coach to the Philadelphia Eagles, because that is the most embarrassing, mind-numbing interview I've ever seen in my life. It honestly makes me believe that it's all about who you know and not what you know to become an NFL head coach, because there is no way that if this is truly who this guy is, that he should be coaching the NFL and I shouldn't be. So let me
Like how you
know.
just skipped Eric Bieniemy and went straight to you, even like that.
I'm just saying,
I'm not mad that Eric Bieniemy doesn't
there's
have head
no
coaching.
way,
You should have
man.
a head
There is absolutely no way that this guy should be coaching in the NFL, and guys like us aren't. You know what I
Watch him just
mean?
go undefeated now. You're just
They could. I hope they do. I
just
hope
crashing
it's
the
it. But
sky.
as of right now, terrible first impression. So, Philadelphia Eagles franchise, you guys are my losers of the week.
Well, it was funny because on the note that you just talked about there, I saw a tweet from Tony Dungy, Hall of Fame coach, right? and he said, I can't remember if he said like someone told him this directly or it was a rumor he heard. So don't quote me on it directly, right? But he said something along the lines of Philadelphia. There's word from Philadelphia that they didn't want another Andy Reid disciple. Doug Peterson, right? Andy Reid disciple. And he said,
Right.
why? Because that doesn't make any sense because Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl and made the playoffs more than he didn't make the playoffs. So it really
Right.
doesn't make any sense that they would say that. So I don't know what the deal is. And like there's been so many like obviously we don't know for sure why Eric Bieniemy doesn't have a job. There's been lots of speculation as to different reasons. You know, people bring up like maybe his past. People bring up maybe the fact that he's black. People bring up maybe he's a bad interview. People say maybe he doesn't call enough of the plays. Maybe he doesn't call any of the plays. You know, what percentage of the plays does he call? There's been head coaches hired that have never called plays in the NFL before. So it's just weird to me. Like you said, Austin, that Eric Bieniemy does not have a job yet, with some of the hires we've seen this year and the past years of guys who have gotten chances. So I think he definitely should have a job as a head coach in the National Football League. I just want to put that out there. But as far as my winner this week, it's got to be Matt Stafford because he is getting out of Detroit, baby. He is leaving the Detroit Lions. I know I was pumping up Dan Campbell, but now they're taking away his franchise quarterback, right? Matt Stafford does not have kneecap on the menu, baby. He is getting out of the Motor City. He is hopefully going to go to a team. I hope he goes to the Indianapolis Colts. I'm not sure if he's going to, but I think Matt Stafford in a Colts uniform with that offensive line, that
Oh yeah.
nasty offensive line, that awesome defense. They need a couple more playmakers on offense, and then we got T.Y. Hilton. He's not enough, I think. I think they need maybe another couple more. But that right there, just on paper, like if you're building a Madden franchise right there, that looks like a Super Bowl team, right? Matt Stafford, he's only 32 years old, which a lot of people
Oh,
forget.
Stafford's still got a lot of good football
People,
left in
yeah,
him.
he's the same age as Russell Wilson. People think he's like 50, right? Because it feels like he's been playing forever, but he's still got a lot of football ahead of him.
Well,
This
and he did have quite a bit of an injury history at one point, so I could see where it's like, damn, he's still in the, you would have expected that to take him out. But yeah, I think Stafford has definitely one of the most, if not the most underrated quarterback in the NFL to me. And when I really like found some love and respect for the guy was the play or the game where um his shoulder pops out of its socket,
against the Browns, yeah,
yeah, against the Browns, and they just pop it right back in, and the guy throws a freaking game-winning, touchdown like that. Just the heart, like that is that play in itself is encompasses everything and every reason why I love the sport of football. Just perseverance, championship football right there, man. So I respect it. Yeah, I love that winner of the
and as,
week for you,
and
Dylan.
as far as my loser of the week, it's the guy who's probably going to lose his job to Matt Stafford or Deshaun Watson, Jimmy Garoppolo. It just feels like he's set up to be shipped out of town. I know nothing's official, but it just seems like everything you read is 49ers looking into different quarterbacks, maybe thinking of drafting a quarterback. So I don't think Jimmy G's long for the franchise of the San Francisco 49ers. And as a Seahawks fan, I really hope they don't get Deshaun Watson or Matt Stafford. I hope they have a change of heart and give Jimmy G a 20-year extension, and we can continue this this NFC West dominance. What about you, Omar? Who you got?
So I'm gonna start with the loser of the week, and for me, it's gonna be Baker Mayfield. Just because with the Deshaun Watson trade rumors, coming everywhere, one of the rumors is him going to Cleveland, and it's like a lot of Browns fans are in favor of it. They're like, okay, yeah, let's trade, Baker and a first round pick and, whatever else in a Jim Brown autographed jersey and, LeBron James's shoes to get Deshaun Watson. And it just, to me, sucks for Baker because it's like he just came off like this, season where he like established himself as like, okay, he is good. He can be your franchise guy, takes Cleveland to the play. Well, helps them get to the playoffs, wins a playoff game, and like 2 weeks later, we're talking about trading him. So just like, that kind of just, sucks for him. I know the talk got loud enough to the point where Baker Mayfield actually had to like respond to it on Twitter. I think he called out some article that had a rumor, he made some little snarky comment about it. So he's paying attention, like he's heard it. And I know, that probably just isn't great for him to like, not even get to enjoy this like great time to
I
be
feel like Baker will
involved with the
always
Browns.
forever be one of those guys that will just always be in that discussion of like the Ryan Fitzpatrick or
Mhm.
remember Steve Garcia? Like that
Jeff
dude used to
Garcia.
have your Jeff Garcia. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, that dude used to have like I will never forget. Wasn't it who was it, the Eagles, or maybe did he play for the
He played
Eagles?
for the Eagles at some point, I think.
Yeah. Like I want to say he came in is when they still had McNabb. McNabb got hurt. Garcia came in like the last, I think, 5 games of the season, and they ended up going like 4-1 or something like that. And he threw like 11 touchdowns to no interceptions, and it just like killed it, bro. And they still just like no matter what kind of success that guy had, and he'd had some pretty decent seasons as a full-time starter for the Niners and stuff like that. But it was always like looking on to the okay, where's the better? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, yeah, well, yeah, he had a great season and all. We meant to play out. That's cool. I get that. So, but when do we really get the franchise quarterback? Like, when's that guy show up? So.
Amar, as a Browns fan,
Mhm.
does it make you feel like Browns fans are, I guess, being kind of spoiled now? Like they got the big season where they make the playoffs, and now they're trying to trade. Like Baker Mayfield is
Yeah.
the best Browns quarterback in recent history, right? Now they're
Yeah.
like, let's get rid of him.
Yeah. No, it's like we're like the fan base that like suddenly won the lottery and like we're acting like we're rich now and we're kind of not.
Right, like we came, like they came from the blue bloods, like,
Yeah.
well, calm down,
Yeah,
bud.
it's just like, okay, like now we can trade Baker Mayfield. I'm like, nah, like, like Baker did his thing this year. Just, congratulate him. Like, let's roll with him. Deshaun Watson's more talented. I get all that, but I I like Baker. I think he's the guy. I mean, he's not like best quarterback in the league or anything, but he's good. And he did good this year. So like I didn't think they would trade him or that it would even be in the discussion, but what do I know? I don't
I
really know.
agree. I don't think he gets enough love, man. I
Mhm.
like Baker too. I think, yeah. I mean, the guy. I've said it before on this channel, and I'll say it again. I mean, he broke the rookie quarterback passing record,
Where
and
do you rank him?
everybody.
Baker Mayfield? Is he
Like middle of the pack, 15,
Yeah,
15 somewhere. Yeah.
top?
I'd say 12 to 15,
Yeah,
somewhere in
somewhere
that.
like
You
that.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
But like, I mean, check this out. Justin Herbert came in and broke the single season rookie passing touchdown record, and people are like freaking out. Like people are ready to like put him next to Josh Allen or like in that next tier, like, oh, this guy's gonna be the next tier of Hall of Fame
It's
quarterbacks.
it's funny how like now that Deshaun Watson wants out of Houston, like there's certain people in the media and just fans on the internet who are like every team except for the Chiefs should be going after this guy.
Oh yeah,
Like it
yeah.
kind of
All of
makes
a
me
sudden,
laugh.
Russell
Like
Wilson needs to be traded for Deshaun
the
Watson.
Chargers should
Mhm.
trade Herbert for Deshaun Watson. Like we don't even know. Like Deshaun Watson is really good, obviously, and obviously Deshaun Watson now is better than Herbert now. But in terms of like money and everything, like fans, I think don't really look at that all
No.
the time. Like he's got a big deal, right? Like
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, just
And he has a
get
huge
paid.
deal going into a season where we're going to see the cap shrink.
And I think another
So,
thing that like people don't think about with Deshaun Watson is yet he has had some injury history, so it's not like the guy's invincible. He's had two what didn't he have like two major surgeries in college, and then he like tore an ACL when he got to the pros.
yep.
So I mean, he's got some injury history, so it's not like he's like invincible. But I'm not trying to down talk the guy, but I just think it's funny that like everybody's ready to trade the farm. Like you said, Austin. Like I've seen Seahawks fans who are like swap him straight across for Russell Wilson right now.
Yeah.
Like
Maybe even throwing the first round pick if you have to, or a first round or second round, and a third and a fourth and a fifth. I mean, if you got to do it, he's a franchise changer. I know we make the playoffs every year.
like
and
is Deshaun
consistently a
Watson going to come
Super
to
Bowl
Seattle?
contender,
Like, if we
but
switch Deshaun Watson with Russell Wilson, are the Seahawks that much better? Are they better at all?
Uh,
Yeah.
I don't
Are they
think so,
about the
honestly.
same?
I just don't see the Seahawks ever trading Russell Wilson. I think he's like an institution there, and so it's like to me, it's like I'm not even considering Watson playing for the Seahawks because I'm
He
just like
will,
it's not going to
Russell
happen.
will
It's
be
just
there as long as he wants to be there. I
Yeah,
think.
exactly.
right.
And I think Pete Carroll might be the same way. Like I think it's
Yeah.
it would take like a 1-in-15 season or just a really bad season for Pete Carroll to get fired, much to the chagrin of one of my least favorite sections of the internet, known as Seahawks Twitter, which are just, you talk about whiny, spoiled baby brat fans. I'm going to call them all out right now. I'm putting it all on the table right now. It's like they want to fire Pete Carroll every season. They want to trade Russell Wilson every season. And they think every season that we don't win a Super Bowl, that the Seahawks don't win a Super Bowl, is a complete failure, an abject failure, which is just to me like, unless you're the New England Patriots, I don't think you can think like that because no other team has had that kind of success. You know what I mean? It's just stupid to me.
I wonder if
Going
that's
on
every.
a lot of rants.
I wonder if that's every fan base because, like, I'd say Browns Twitter was the same thing. Like every loss, it was like, "See, I told you Stefanski's not the guy." Okay, yeah, now we need to trade Baker. And like, there's like this war between Browns fans about Baker Mayfield. Is he good enough, or is he really the guy? Or this is where all the trade talks coming from. So I wonder, yeah, maybe that's every team. I don't know.
Yeah, it's got to be. I mean, I see people. It's just fans in general, and that like. I'm going to try and say this as easily as possible. Quit being stupid. Quit being stupid, dumb idiots. Like, come on, you guys. Use your goddamn heads every once in a while. I mean, it is so frustrating to see some of the stupid, terrible things that some of you people out there tweet or post on social media or what. And I get that, 80% of it is bait, but the other 20% is genuine idiocracy, and it needs to stop.
And they're not all just the fans that are like the troll accounts with the little egg profile picture. Some of these, and I won't mention the names or the shows on this show, but some of them are like followed by thousands and thousands of people, and they do like their own blog show and everything for the Seahawks. And like, I see posts such as like, well, Pete Carroll didn't go for it on that fourth down. He's a coward. Like, you're calling the man a coward because he didn't run the football play you thought he should have ran. Whereas you sit there and tweet from your little Twitter machine, probably never even played football beyond middle school or high school, and he's a Super Bowl winning head coach.
Hall of Fame to be head coach.
Yes, you think you know more than him, and you're mad because he didn't go for that 4th and 3 or that 4th and 4 or whatever. So all of a sudden he's a coward. Like, it's not even like, oh, I disagree with that play call. It's like, I hate this person as a person now because of this play call. It's just stupid to me, man. It makes me want to stay off of Twitter. But go ahead and follow me at Dillon Reports.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So my winner for the week.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's my winner for the week, and forgive me, I'm about to nerd out a little bit and talk about a sport that I don't think we talked about ever on the show, and I'm not sure either one of you watch, but whatever. My winner of the week is the sport of kickboxing. Secretly, my favorite sport, the only one I currently participate in, my favorite to watch. So on Saturday, so we're recording this Friday night. This pay-per-view, Glory 77, is going to be Saturday like afternoon. So I'm pretty sure that by the time most of y'all watch this or listen to this, that it will have already happened. But even if that's the case, go on YouTube and look up the highlights or something. I don't know. Either way, this is going to be the biggest show of the year. Probably the biggest show of the year. It's only January. For Glory. Arguably the 3 best kickboxers in the world are going to be in action on the same card. You're going to have heavyweight champ Rico Verhoeven. You're going to have welterweight champ Cedric Doumbé, light heavyweight champ Alex Pereira. There's going to be like a heavyweight tournament. 1, 2, 3, 3 fights in one night. Along with some other fights in the card. So if you're ever going to give kickboxing a chance, if you don't already watch it, and you're going to watch one kickboxing show all year, watch Glory 77, whether you have time to catch it on, if you catch our show before the before the pay-per-view, or you just watch the highlights or whatever, just go check it out. It's going to be dope. And I'm like super excited for it, probably more excited than I am for the Super Bowl. So that's going to be my winner of the week. That's going to be my winner of the week. Sport of kickboxing is going to do, it's going to make a mark, make an impact. People are going to be talking about it. I'm going to be talking about it. So, that's what I got.
Is Austin awake still?
I might put him to sleep.
Everything that's going. No, I can see everything that's going on.
Dude, it's people fighting. Like you like.
Did I hear that right?
You like fight sports.
You're involved in kickboxing.
I train Muay Thai, so I'm not like a fighter. Like I'm not an amateur kickboxer.
He actually once claimed to definitely be able to beat up Anderson Silva. So,
well, that was right after he broke his leg. Like the night. I
don't even think then though.
The night that he broke his leg, I'm pretty sure I probably could have taken him that night.
No, probably not, bro.
Like okay. In the few seconds after he broke his leg, when he was on the ground screaming, I could have taken him then. I think.
Maybe. I think it's still 50-50.
It'd be like a split decision, I'd like he still gets some shots in on him.
He's just laying on the ground and the ref just raises his arm.
I just come through, I hit him a couple times. I'd probably still be scared of him. Like he's got the other leg though. Yeah. So anyway, that's the winners and losers segment. Something we're going to be bringing y'all probably every week. Going forward.
Absolutely.
But we've gone pretty long on this episode. I think just because, first one back after a while, we had a lot to talk about. Man. Super Bowl's coming up.
Tons.
Yeah. And we'll have more next week when we talk more about the Super Bowl and some other stuff. But until then, Austin, you want to take us out of here?
Well, of course. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, the dangly little bell, bing, ding, 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 to get notified every time our videos get posted. Drop a comment, join in on the conversation, okay? Join in, let us know what you're thinking on any number of these topics. And as always, when you come to this channel, to this particular set of videos, you've got to bring your A game. Cue the music.